What's good, you guys? Good, you guys. Oh, would you look at that? I have my computer audio on still. All right. Happy New Year, Richie. Yeah, there were some echoes because I had my computer volume turned up still, but we should be good now, right? Happy New Year, Joey. Perfect, perfect. Sweet. All right, so we finally got the streaming set up and ready to go for the floor channel, which I'm excited about. And as far as tonight goes, we're just going to do a charting session. And obviously, that charting session, we're just going to go through my watch list A to Z. Make my face bigger in the middle here for right now. But I'm going to wait for a couple people to join up real quick. I know this is a different channel than usual, so usually on my channel. But make sure you guys that are in here subscribe to the channel down below. It's going to help out a lot. There's going to be a lot of educational content coming out very, very soon. So make sure you guys subscribe, and we will go ahead and get right into it. If any of you guys throughout this lesson have anything you want me to go over, anything you want me to check, just drop a comment. Obviously, let me know what level you're looking at as well, so I know kind of where I'm basing it off of. Because a lot of the times people will throw some random stock in there and just be like, yep, this is it. but yeah, whenever you guys feel like it, feel free to throw something in there if you want me to go over it. But just double checking, everybody can see everything all right, right? Charts, me, audio's good. Sweet. Sounds good. All right, well, let's go ahead and get to it here. We had an amazing day today. I don't know who all caught that in the chat, but my lord, Tesla was great. Great, great. Actually, Apple here. I haven't liked Apple in a long time. I say a long time. It was probably last week, to be honest, but Tesla down here at 241.25 looks really nice from this level on the 1 hour and the 4 hour. That would be something I would actually take a look at for tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and mark this here. Make our way down. Let's see. Vaughn said I caught that. Beautiful early entry and exit. Nice. Airbnb, I think I'm going to pass on. But just so you guys know, I'm going to go ahead and write out the plans for the trades as well. Obviously, we're going to check out the charts, but the actual trade plans will get written at the end of this video. Or I say this video, but this live. I typically don't do that just because I don't like charting the night before, because if the levels break, I kind of psychologically feel like I have nothing to look at the next morning. But 119.21 on AMD looks pretty solid as well, actually. Let's see. I mean, obviously we're a bit far away from that right now, but it doesn't look bad. Got room down to about 118.88 on the 30-minute. So room for a little scalp, which is more than enough on a Friday. Let's see. Please try to teach your train of thought while you chart the trades. Yeah, Alexander. So basically what I'm looking for is I'm looking for pretty clear support and resistance levels. That's the basis of what I'm looking for, and that's really the easiest way to look at it. and the easiest way to go about it is look for the very clear support and resistance levels. And then after that, that's really where you build your plan from, because that's where you're finding either other trends that are going to affect your trade, other supports and resistances that might affect your trade. So in that case, you're going to be looking more for targets or areas where you would expect to see the stock have some hesitance, if that makes sense. So AVGO, I'm all good on that. BA down here at 170, we actually broke today by 18 cents. So I actually might look at BA 170, even though we did break. All we did was literally break and wick on the 1 minute. So I'm not really going to count that as a solid break. I would still look at that same 170 level. Baidu, let's see. All good on that. All good on Coin as well. But Coin does have this little consolidation area here. I say little. It's about a $10 consolidation area, but this 264 level doesn't look horrible. There is a very, very small gap here from 264 up to 265. 265.25. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm probably going to pass on that. We'll just have to see as we go down the watch list. If that's our only upside setup, then I would take a look at it. And then even here, we go down and look, this 262.31 level, you could look to play that. However, I would say that is not the safest entry by any means, just because it is still within that consolidation range. I would like to see it break out of this area first before I touch it. Good news, though, is that 15-minute downtrend, we would have to break that beforehand in order to even get to any of those levels. So that's already a decent sign if we can break that with momentum. Thank you, Sean. Thank you. I had to fight for these lights. They had one left for sale and one on display, and they refused to sell me the display. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. They were like, yeah, we can't sell that one. It's a display. I was like, okay, what do you have it displayed for? They're like, well, to sell the others. Like, okay. Are you going to restock these anytime soon? They're like, no, we don't sell many of them. I'm like, what's the point? What if you're not restocking them? You don't sell very many of them. Somebody is actively trying to buy one. It would only make sense to sell it, right? Sorry, I was rambling as I was making my way through the stocks with no setups. What I gotta do sometimes. 604.91 in. A little far away, but if it gets strong enough to push back up here, 604.91 doesn't look too bad. Let's see, what is our next resistance after that? 605.68. Then we have 605.68 or 50. 68. All right, cool. And after that, we've got 606.30. So yeah, we've got a couple decent targets here. Raymond, overall, I'm looking for breakout and breakdown setups on these stocks. I hope that answers your question. I'm not sure exactly what you were trying to ask there. Marvel, I'm going to pass on. If you guys do like trading Marvel, though, we've got a resistance basically right at 115. So if that's a stock you like, it doesn't look horrible. But on a Friday, I think I'm going to pass on that. Netflix. Nope. NVIDIA. What do we got going on here? Like this. We do have a bit of an uptrend here, but with enough volume, we should be able to break that pretty easily. 138.88. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. 138.88 through 139. We've got room all the way up here to 139.50. And after that, we've got room up to this right here, 139.59. After that, we have room to 139.95, and we eventually get up to 140 here. I would probably have 140 as my final target for this, but just in case, I'll mark this here at 140.27. 140 being my target is more of a psychological level than anything. 140.27 would be my final target based off of an actual level. So I doubt that we would even need that much of a move on a Friday, though. It doesn't look bad, though. Yeah, pretty much RC. Type of setup are you looking for? Can you show an example? Yeah, Raymond. I mean, that's what I'm doing throughout this whole thing, is showing you guys examples of what I'm looking for. Also, if you're in the Discord, just go back in the trade ideas tab, look at everything that I've sent in there every morning, and then just look and see how it played out on the charts as well. Because that's going to be your best example of seeing what I'm looking for in a setup and then why I was looking for it. But yeah, I mean, right here, I'm actively telling you guys exactly what I'm looking for here. Oh, is that Arco? My bad, my bad. How do you do the dash lines? Dion, give me just a minute to get through this watch list here, and I will show you how to set that up. Oh, QQQ bounced off of a pretty strong support today. That's interesting. If we get back below 504.40 or 504.41, it's gonna be rough. I mean, it's not gonna be rough for us, but it's gonna be rough for the market. SMCI, I've had this 28.84 level for weeks now. I would definitely keep an eye on that just in case we do get down there. So I'll go ahead and mark that one. But Raymond, what I'm looking for on these stocks is I want to see, obviously, like I said, the support and resistance levels. But the way that you find those is legitimately just looking for peaks and valleys. If you're looking for peaks and valleys, that's where you're going to find your supports and your resistances. So every peak that you make is a resistance. Every valley that you make is also a support. So the only reason that I'm not charting, let's say, ones like these, I have old lines back here, but the only reason I'm not charting every single peak right here is because we've already broken these resistances, right? And once these resistances get broken, they're not really important anymore. So it's basically like when you pop a balloon, obviously you're still going to have the balloon there, but you really can't pop it again. So once you get that initial pop or that initial break, that level is not as important as it used to be, right? So marking out these levels that have already broken, once these levels break, they end up just being another price, right? They end up being another dollar amount on the stock. They end up being another cent amount on the stock as well after they break. They are no longer important to us up until they set up again. So let's see, same entries. Keith was aiming for. Nice, Levon. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And the larger the time frames that these stocks set up on, the more importance I'm going to put behind the level, right? So if I see something on the 1 minute, that's cool, and it could still give us a good break. But if I see something on the 1 minute, and then I see something on the 4 hour, the one on the 4 hour is going to be much more important and much more sought after than the level that just set up 10 minutes ago, right? UPST at 59.90 actually doesn't look bad. I haven't traded this stock in forever, but if it's got volume, 59.90 does not look too bad because we're breaking below this 4 hour downtrend here, which that already requires this stock to be extremely weak in the first place to get below a trend like that. And this could be a point where we really just start seeing that free fall. So I would definitely keep an eye on that. Okay, let's see. Dion, real quick. You're still in here. The way that you get these dotted lines like this, where it ends up looking like this, is all you've got to do is go right click on your chart, go down here to add a drawing, go over here to price level, and then draw it out. Once you draw it out, right click on that line, click edit properties. After that, you go right here, turn right extension on, show the price on the right, and then down here, I have this light blue color selected, and then under the style, you click this long dotted line. And after that, just save it as default, and every line that you draw from now on is going to look like this. Why are higher time frames more important? Higher time frames are more important because you see a lot less back and forth through these levels versus on the 1 minute. We may have a level that is set up today, right? But yesterday, the day before, we've gone through it 5, 10, 15 times just in those last couple days. So therefore, it makes it a little bit less of a sought after level because it's a price we've passed through multiple times. Also, the higher the time frame that the setup is on, the more eyes are watching it as well. And generally, the longer it takes to set up. So like if we're making new highs on the 4 hour every day, looking at it on the 4 hour versus looking at it on the 1 minute isn't going to make any difference. But a lot of these levels that we're looking at, like this one is from the 9th of December. This one is from the 4th of December. So like they happened almost a month ago. Those levels were set almost a month ago. So they've just been basically sitting there and waiting, right? All right, cool. So actually, I think we have everything charted for now. We're going to go more in depth when we're making the plans, but looks like we've got Apple, AMD, BA, Coin possibly, Meta, Nvidia, SMCI, Tesla, and UPST. You chart on the 4 hour mostly. Yes, Raymond. I'm usually, I would say 97% of the time starting out on the 4 hour. Unless I have to go out to the 1 year, and then I work my way down through the watch or through the time frames. But yeah, okay, cool. So that's what we've got for the watch. I'm gonna go ahead and bring out the scratch pad here, and for some reason it wants to be full screen. So go ahead and just get this going here. You didn't chart Tesla. I looked at Tesla. However, there's nothing I like on Tesla as of right now. There's nothing specific that I like on it right now. We may have something set up pre-market, so I'm going to put it in the side watches, but for now, I'm just going to leave it be. So once you find a setup on the higher time frame, do you then go lower time frames to see if you see the same thing, or do you just use the... Yeah, Jack. So whenever I go on the higher time frames, I find the important levels on the high time frames. And that's why we start out on the high time frames, because imagine you're starting out on the 1 minute. And I think I did this in the last charting session as well, but let's say you're starting out on the 1 minute. All right, when I go to the 1 minute, I'm going to look at this, and if I have to chart out every single support and every single resistance, I'm going to be sitting here with 100 levels on my chart, and none of them really mean that much, right? Like, I'm just going up right here and just charting these supports. And look how messy my chart gets after this. And this is just one stock. And these are not exact, but you get the concept. So look how many levels I have right now. And none of them are really that important. Now, when I go out to the 4 hour, I can look at the chart, and all the peaks and all the valleys that I'm seeing are of some importance. Exactly, Sean. None of them mean that much in the type of trading we do. So that's why I start out on the larger time frames, because all of the levels that are like really going to be meaningful for us, I'm going to see on the 4 hour. So it basically just saves you a ton of time and a ton of space on your charts, rather than trying to start on the smaller time frames and work your way out. So yeah, like where I got NVIDIA's level from earlier was I saw these 3 candles right here. Obviously, this one's the highest, so this one would be the resistance between these 3. And then when I went down to the smaller time frame, that's where I started finding my targets, right? So I was working my way up there to find my targets, but as far as the important levels go, that is the important level that I'm looking to play. And then, you know, earlier, a few days ago, these levels right here were the levels, well, this level right here at 140.94 was the level that I was looking to play. And then I went down on the smaller time frames to find my targets for that trade. So the 141.41 is my target for this entry. And then this 141.90 is also a very important level, which I charted out on the larger time frames as well. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense as to why I'm starting out bigger and working my way down rather than trying to start out small and work my way out. But, all right. The one on YouTube looks so different than Discord. What do you mean, Levon? I post live trading videos all the time and vlogs. Like, you've definitely seen my face before. Oh, got you. I thought you meant me. I was gonna say. I know for a fact you've seen my face. Entry is at the... Yes, Raymond. So my entry is going to be at the initial level that I'm writing down for the trade ideas. So let's just get into this here. So Apple, I am looking at 241.25, which means I'm looking to enter this trade at 241.25. Targeting a move on this down to... We really have room all the way down to 238.93, but I'll go ahead and be modest here and say, let's just say 241 for the bare minimum. because that should be fairly easy to hit there. And that's going to be my first psychological level for my target. So the issue here is the next important level for this is all the way down here at 238.93, and I do not expect myself to hold for that entire move. So what I'm looking for here is other things that I can use for a target. So in this case, I'm going to be looking for psychological levels as my target. So 241 would be the first one, like absolute bare minimum, would not make sense to take this trade unless we are aiming for this to break below 241. After that, 240.50, because Apple is kind of a slower mover. It doesn't move as much as a lot of the other stocks we trade. So a 50-cent target is actually pretty nice for Apple. And then my final target on this would probably be the 240 break. We're going to move on this down to 241, 240.50, then the 240 break for my final target. Sorry if the typing is obnoxiously loud. My mic is sitting right next to my keyboard, and OBS does not have very good sound protection. Also looking at 238.93 for a separate trade. Okay. So 238.93 is going to be a separate level that I'm looking at for Apple. There's no shot that I'm going to be holding this from 241.25 all the way down to 238.93. I already know that I'm not going to do that. So that's why I'm riding on the back end of this trade idea. I'm also looking at 238.93 for a separate trade. All right. Next on the list. And I don't believe we had any trends on Apple either. So I'm going to actually go back and check that real quick. I do not think that we have any trends that are going to affect us much. So the 15 minutes got a trend down here at 239.70, which is below my final target anyways, so we're good there. Okay, cool. AMD. Looking at 1921 support. Entry. Targeting a move on this. Down to, let me just check the trends real quick. 118.88, 118.85. Okay, let's see. Targeting a move on this down to 118.85. One hour trend. If we break below this trend, I'll be looking for a 118 final target. Once again, the next important level on this is so far away that I know for a fact I'm not going to be holding for it. So that's why I'm just using that psychological level. He sounds like an angry kid who just lost. What kind of leverage do you use on your trades? I use no leverage, Dennis. What's up, Logan? I guess we're not letting the Keith thing go, are we? All right, let's see. BA still looks good in my opinion. All right. Yeah, Dennis, we trade options. So the options themselves are pretty much our leverage, if that makes sense. The options move a lot more than the stock would. So like, let's say like a 0.1, 0.2% move on the stock could be like a 10 to 15% move on the options contracts. So that's how on Tesla today, we took this from 383.25 all the way down here to just about 378. And that ended up being a 27% play. So that is what we're trading. If you want to, obviously, you can trade the stock with shares and use whatever leverage you're comfortable with. But with options, it gives you the opportunity to trade these stocks at a lower price point and get a way better percentage than you typically would in the first place. Jonathan, I wish, brother, I wish. There's currently nothing on Tesla that I like for tomorrow, but that is subject to change pre-market. Yeah, absolutely, Dennis, no problem. If you haven't heard of options, I would definitely look into it. I would definitely join the floor in the description. Coin looking at 262.31 flat top. Taking this into the start of the gap at 263.93 with the final target being the close of the fill of the gap at 265.25. Right. Yes, I did, Levon. And no, I can tell you exactly what that is. I will shoot you a text right after the lesson. Derek, technically tomorrow, but we may have to push it back. Not exactly sure yet. It was actually technically supposed to start New Year's, but we were all busy. John, no, but you can go see literally everything on our Instagram page. Find it hard to calculate them and find the regular. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely easier to handle, Dennis, but as far as options go, you really don't have to do much calculating. The way we trade options is the same way that you would buy and sell shares, right? We're not actually exercising these options contracts. We're literally flipping the options premiums. So we're buying and selling the contract for a profit or loss of whatever that contract moves from when we buy. Our code, definitely not. Definitely not. We said the beginning of 2025 before we had an exact date. Okay, coin I got. All good. Go down here to Meta. Meta's a nice looking one. I like this. Sweet. We got Meta down, looking at 604.91 resistance for the entry, targeting a move on this to the next resistance at 605.68. Final target of the 606.30. I'm going to change that. 606.30 break. Now, what do we have left? We have NVIDIA. Cool. Let's see. Iverson, how I pick my strike price. I'm looking for the closest strike price to being in the money as possible, as long as it has good volume and good open interest. So I'm also looking for contracts that are reasonably priced as well. So the contracts I like to trade are anywhere between like $350 to like $950 a contract. However, for the chat, I will typically go somewhere around the 450 to 700 range just to make it a little bit easier on everyone. But any contract that has good volume is going to be okay as long as you're not too far out of the money. If you're too far out of the money, like these right here, these 3 cent, 4 cent contracts like that, that's useless. And sometimes on Friday, I'll even go one strike in the money if the contracts that are out of the money are too cheap. So it really just depends, but that's typically what I'm looking for. Main things to focus on there is that it has volume. That's the biggest thing. After that, it's kind of up to you. But I will throw in a little piece of advice here. When I'm looking at contracts, and what I did when I was first getting into trading was I thought the more contracts I had, the more money I could make. Where if I was going to take $1,000 position size, I would go buy 10 $100 contracts versus buying one $1,000 contract or two $500 contracts, depending on how much these contracts were priced at. So if I'm looking at contracts with a small account and I'm trying to trade $1,000 position size, I would 100% of the time go with the contracts that maybe you're only buying one, maybe you're only buying two, but it is that same position size as if you were to buy 10 of the cheaper ones, right? The reason that I would go with the more expensive ones is because they're going to hold their value better and they're going to move better overall, which is not what you would expect. And it took me a while to figure that out, but I would get crushed on the percentages of some of that stuff because I would be buying these super cheap contracts thinking that if I had more of them, I would be able to make more money. Let's see, Dylan asked from Discord. Hold on, give me just a second. Let me check the Discord. Are there people in the lessons tab or in the stocks chat? Let's see. Someone asked what he sees. Oh, okay. When I like a stock. So when I like a stock, it's the same thing that I was talking about earlier. I'm looking for those resistance or those support levels depending on what we're looking at. I want to see it set up on a larger time frame. And once you start seeing these trade ideas get posted on a daily basis and you start seeing them for a longer period of time, you're going to start understanding more of what I'm looking for. But it really comes down to looking for supports and resistances. If you have a support or a resistance, you're pretty much good. Now, the importance of those levels is going to be more of what is going to excel your trades, and more of why your trades are going to play out or not play out. But just looking for the supports and resistances is going to be good. For sure, Jack. First part about sizing the Greeks. Yeah, absolutely, Logan. Okay, let's see. Where am I at here? NVIDIA. Let's see. All right. All right, sweet. We got NVIDIA. And what else do we have? SMCI. I want to put UPST first. Aggressively approach core level. Okay, cool. UPST. Then side watch. That is not the color I was going for. Okay. It is 2884. Uh, 2884 support. Targeting a move down to the 28 break. Come on. Where are we at here? Do that to me. There we go. Okay, SMC. Tesla, we'll just go ahead and put this as a neutral. Okay. Cool. So that is the watch list for tomorrow. That's everything that I'm liking so far. So I will give you guys the remainder of this time to make sure you screenshot that if you're not in the floor. If you're in the floor, make sure you join because I'm throwing it in the stocks chat and the lessons tab afterwards. and we'll actually be able to execute these trades together. And for the rest of this time here, we can either do a short Q&A or we can wrap it up early, but I'm going to go back and make sure I got everything answered here. So you're looking at the trend when you determine calls or puts for that particular stock. No, Raymond. So when I'm looking to determine calls or puts, I'm looking at the setup as a whole. So if I'm looking to play a support break, I'm going to be looking to play puts because I'm looking to play that to the downside. So when I'm looking at a support, I'm automatically looking at puts. When I'm looking at a resistance, I'm automatically looking at calls. How do you position your stop loss? Because today I had good ideas on trades, and every time I would take it, the stock would bounce and break my stop loss by like 20 cents and then hit profit. So when I'm making my stop losses, I'm making my stop losses based off of the chart and based off of overall risk to reward from that setup. So I'm taking into account what my target is going to be, what my stop loss is. Also, if we have any levels on the chart that would make sense for a stop loss, I'm going to look at that ahead of time and say, okay, if I know my stop loss is going to have to be a little bit wider or a little bit higher percentage, then I'm going to size down for this so I can let that trade have room to play out. So that's the way you're going to make sure you're not getting faked out as much as possible. But yeah. Go over what you have in the box. I missed the first part. Yeah, Logan, I mean, it's right here if you want to take a look at it. Cool, Iverson. Sorry to ask again, but I did something incorrect with the resistance level lines if you have time. Of course, Dion. All you have to do, right click, go down here to add a drawing, go over here to the price level, click on that, then just draw the price level. After that, okay, to draw the price level, you have to left click. So after that, you right click on the price level, you click edit properties, you go in here, you make sure where it says show price on the right. Down here for the color, I have it set as this bright blue. And then for the style, I have it as these longer dotted lines. After that, just click save as default and you should be good. What is considered good volume? Good volume to me is anything over 1,000. Yeah, I mean, good volume on options contracts. I don't want to take anything unless it's at least 1,000 in volume, but obviously the higher the better. Good volume is in the hundreds of thousands, but like good enough to trade volume is, I would say, 1,000 or over. Or like if we're approaching the level right off of open or something like that, and we've got 980 in volume, but we've been picking it up super quickly, then I'm still okay with that as long as that volume is increasing. But I don't really want to trade something unless it's got at least 1,000 in volume. Do you post every move you make in the Discord? WN, I do. Every single move I make. I have not taken one single trade since the Discord started that has not been put in the day trade signals tab. Or anything. Okay, yep. Yep, that's true. You can click on the scroll wheel as well to just pull up this little menu right here. But you have to click back to change back to your cursor. Good volume number for a strike price. Iverson, I think I just answered that for you. Where's the live trading located in the Discord? Does everything make it to day trade signals? Yes, WN. Everything that I am taking, everything that I'm trading is in the day trade signals tab. And we're live trading every morning in the trading floor voice channel at the very bottom of the chat. When you join, obviously you have to claim your roles first. So you have to go to the rules tab, claim your roles, and then after that, you've got access to everything. Dion, you have to right click. You have to right click on the chart first. go down here, and then regular click, and then regular click, and then right click to pull up the drop down menu, regular click, edit properties, and regular click everything else. Raymond, my execution is on the 1 minute, yes. However, I am looking at multiple time frames when I'm trading. Thank you so much. Took my first trade this morning with you guys. Absolutely beautiful. Nice, Iverson. Let's go. Today was a good day. Very good day. Great way to start the year, actually. Couldn't have asked for much better. We played it safe too. If we didn't play it safe and like got risky with it, that could have been crazy. But that's not what I'm about. Not what we're about as a whole. Where do I put my stop loss? So I just talked about this, but when I am looking for a stop loss, I'm looking for a level or an area on the chart where it would make sense that if we got there, we're 99% sure not coming back. And also make that within reason compared to your target. Because if you make it, you know, if I'm looking to get in here at 373, but I'm saying, okay, well, if we get to 386, then we're definitely not coming back. Like, yeah, that's way too far, way too out of proportion there. But when I'm looking at something like this, for example, I'm going to be looking at the chart and saying, all right, if we aggressively get to a specific level or a specific area down here, where are we most likely going to not come back from? So I'm going to look here and say that right around this area, there's a pretty good chance that if we get aggressive into this, probably not going to come back down. And this honestly would not even be my favorite setup for a stop loss, but this area right here is where we're seeing the majority of the reactions from the stock. Bounce, when we got back into it, got bought up aggressively, bounce. And then, so obviously, if you're coming back up to that aggressively, you're most likely going to see it continue in that direction. And let's just take a look and see how this level reacted the rest of the day. We came back down to it. We got a perfect bounce again, perfect bounce again. So obviously that area means something, right? So that would not even be an ideal area for a stop loss for me, but right around this area would probably be my stop loss on that, especially if we got aggressive into it. And then I would take into account what is my target and does it make sense for this to be my stop loss if whatever is my target. And by that, I'm going to say, is it at least a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio? So am I risking 75 cents to make $1.50? All right, then that's great. Am I risking 75 cents to make 75 cents? That's still okay, but it's not as good as it could be. Am I risking 75 cents to make 25 cents? All right, this trade makes no sense. Why would I take it? TOS, is there a way to copy your screen configuration so you can have that same configuration on another account? As far as I know, Jack, no. Yeah, for sure, Levon. But cool. All right, we've got 1 minute here. So I appreciate you guys coming out. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Make sure you join that link there in the description so we can trade together in the morning. But like I said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Thanks for coming out.